This is Rock Bottom with Ryan. No sugarcoating, no filters. The pain, the chaos, the truth. No bullshit. Just recovery.
In this powerful episode, I sit down with a longtime friend whose story is one of transformation, struggle, and perseverance. For years, he's battled alcohol and drug addiction, faced multiple arrests, and found himself spiraling toward rock bottom. His life was defined by chaos, pain, and disconnection, not just from the people who loved him, but from himself. But hitting that lowest point became the turning point he never saw coming. Today, his life looks nothing like it used to. He worked hard to build a meaningful relationship with his son, one rooted in love, trust, and consistency. He's shown up for a significant other in ways he never could before, and he's taken big steps toward living with purpose and clarity. While he still drinks occasionally, his ultimate goal is full sobriety, and he's well on his way. In our conversation, he opens up about how faith in God and embracing a healthier lifestyle have guided him back to a life of peace and direction. He shares the lessons he's learned, the battles he's still fighting, and the hope that continues to pull him forward. This episode is a raw, honest look at the messy, beautiful process of change, and a reminder that it's never too late to rewrite your story. Let's get into it.
So my name's Casey Micon. I'm from Seattle or Kirkland, Washington. Born in Washington, lived here, traveled a lot, got the joys of meeting this wonderful man, Ryan, over here about a decade ago. So it's an honor to be on the show. We've seen each other go through some pretty cool stuff, some pretty bad stuff, gone through. And now, it's nice to finally share that we're on the up and up, even together. So yeah. It's cool.
I agree. It's good the fact that we go way back and experience quite a bit together and actually see each other progress and thrive in life.
Indeed. It's been a long time, dude.
Yeah, it has. It's been a while. What is your drink or drug of choice?
So drink of choice is definitely beer and whiskey. It's definitely been a staple for me. It used to be Jack and Cokes. That used to be my thing. I'd get messed up on a Jack and Coke, and I could drink them and drink them and drink them. And the worst part is how many times I drove home from the bar and not remembering how I got there.
How many DUIs we should all have? It's unbelievable.
I guess that guardian angel that's been riding on my shoulder for as long as he has been, he's like, okay, well, now you're pulling yourself out of it. I don't go to bars hardly at all. I don't go out. I work. Focus on my career as a mechanic, constantly educating myself, doing my daily devotions in the morning before I get to work, sitting in the parking lot because I get there early, give the good praise to the big guy upstairs because he's the one that looks out for us all. It's progress, not perfection. So we're all working at it, and that's the best thing that we can do.
Exactly. So can you go in a little in depth of where drinking started in your life? How it progressed, how drugs got involved, kind of give me kind of a little timeline of how it started and how it progressed.
So at the beginning, I was actually a professional BMX athlete, and I didn't drink, I didn't do drugs. And what got me out of that was my injury that was a career-ending injury, and I couldn't do that anymore. And so I lost a lot of my own ambition and respect for the community and all that. And so I decided that since I couldn't do anything for fun, might as well do what everybody else is doing and start drinking. And I was a pretty big stoner, so I really liked smoking weed. Nowadays, I can't smoke that stuff. I haven't smoked weed in I think the last time I tried to take a hit of weed was back at COVID when that first started. And it's too powerful for me. It makes me feel weird. So drinking was something that I got into because it was a social outlet at first where I could drink socially with people. And then I started drinking at home. And what really, really pushed me over the edge too was COVID, where I couldn't do anything and I was at home all the time. And I was drinking a fifth of Jack Daniels probably nightly. And I was also doing cocaine because cocaine helps you drink more. And I also sold cocaine and got a felony for that too. And that's one of the biggest things that I was chasing for a long time, was the money on that whole thing.
When did you first do cocaine, and when did it turn into a habit?
I think I was 17 years old 17 or 18 years old when I tried it for the first time. And I just remember staying awake in a bed, just looking at the ceiling like, man, am I ever going to go to sleep? And then I didn't do it for quite a while. And then the peer pressure thing came into play. And then I met a gentleman, I'm not going to speak his name, got me into doing it more often and ended up having me help him sell it. And then I became on my own selling cocaine back when I was a young kid. So I'd been doing cocaine since I was probably consecutively 18, 19 years old. And it was a great source of income. But I thought I was invincible. I thought I was above everybody in the world. I never was going to get caught. I'm never going to be in trouble. I didn't think about what the side effects were going to be on my long-term career of doing cocaine, if that's something that's appropriate to say.
And what would you say the side effects became?
I got to say that my liver's probably not the healthiest. I mean, every time I go to the doctor, they say it's healthy, but gut health is a huge problem. Nasal issues are a huge problem. I developed psoriasis about 8 years ago because of having bad stuff inside of my body all the time and not knowing when to stop. It was like a constant thing. I did it every day for so long.
How much do you think you were doing per day?
I had an endless supply around me all the time. So it's like, it never really was an issue on whether I could get it or not. But it was like, anytime a friend came over and bought it from me, they'd give me some. So it was like, I never was without it, but I definitely know that I was doing at least a half a gram a day.
Okay. So did it turn into something that you were doing on a regular basis, not just for partying and staying up when you were drinking?
It did start to become something that I craved a lot of. I was like, oh, I can't wait to get home and do some cocaine and, then go out and party and then sell more cocaine and blah, blah, blah. So it was like I was driving around all inebriated as fuck for most of that time. And it was probably in my early 20s before I had my kid is when it really, really was the thing that was like, that's the thing that drove me all the time.
Okay. So can you describe, was it more of an alcohol problem or a cocaine problem or a combination of the two?
I think it was a combination of the two. Also, I think it was due to the fact that I was addicted to the lifestyle. Is with that lifestyle, it comes with partying and
meeting people and
not knowing if you're going to wake up at your house or if you're going to wake up in somebody else's.
Yeah.
The amount of couches that I slept on over the time period of my drunk cocaine binges was pretty intense, So
what was it like when you came off of one of those binges?
It brought me back to the fact of feeling like a failure, right? So you analyze everything in your life and you're like, damn, dude, I feel like such garbage today. And then everything else just starts compiling on you, even your own life problems that you still have, no matter how messed up you get, you're still going to have the same problems when you wake up after you've been inebriated. And that's the thing that most people stay in, is that inebriation, because we're the only ones that are in our own way to make sure that our lives are better in the future. And I'm still on that journey, like knowing the difference between right and wrong for myself and having control and discernment when it comes to, if I do have a drink here and there nowadays, I don't go, super crazy. I don't buy hard alcohol anymore. On occasion I have a 6-pack of my favorite beer, but at the same time, sometimes I'll still drink a whole 6-pack in a night, which I'll feel like shit the next day. But at least I'm not feeling like I'm the biggest failure in the entire planet anymore. But there is light at the end of the tunnel if you are feeling that way,
What kind of trouble do you think you got into? How did it affect your relationships and your life legally? What kind of stuff can you look back at and be like, God, if I didn't drink or do cocaine, that would have never happened?
I'd probably be a lot better off financially I'd probably be still with my kid's mom at this point if I had let that stuff go. When I got my felony charge, I was 23, 24 years old. I was fighting a speeding, drifting ticket, and a lawyer said that he had moved my court date, and I had just sold some stuff to a friend of mine, and then we were going back to my house, and I got arrested, and I had a snooter in my pocket, which was a rolled up dollar bill. And of course, I get searched right then and there because I have a warrant out for my arrest, and I had, I think, just under a half an ounce of cocaine bagged up in my car. And I got out pretty lucky on this whole deal because I didn't have it all bagged up. So I didn't get intent to deal. I just got a possession charge. But yeah, if I never would have even touched cocaine in the first place, yeah, I think I'd be a lot further in life. I'd probably be a homeowner. I can't dwell on that kind of past because it's not healthy. But yeah, I'm sure life would be a ton different if I wasn't so stupid focused on making money in an illegal way and basically using that as something that helped me sustain my cocaine addiction.
Yeah, no, quick, easy money is really addictive too. It's coming in that fast as opposed to working a job at that time, making 25, 40 an hour or less or whatever, like making a quick $500, selling a couple of, or selling a couple of 8 balls or something sounds a little more appealing.
Yeah, right. Yeah. I can get this quick money real quick, but I know it's in a dirty way. Clean money goes a lot further.
Exactly. And
it does.
Now in recovery and cutting back on alcohol, like you're doing, I'm sure every dollar you take more seriously.
Oh yeah. Well, it's the nicest thing is when I look at my bank account and I see that I have money to take my girlfriend out for dinner or take a friend out for dinner or whatever. If I want to buy a new bicycle part, since I've finally gotten back into riding bicycles again, or car parts or motorcycle parts, I'm actually able to do that now and not worry about like, oh, I need to have money to go to the bar or I need money to buy some cocaine, you know?
Yeah.
I lived paycheck to paycheck. I mean, sometimes my paycheck wouldn't even last me a week. And it's nice. Now I'm like, oh, I got an extra $2,000 sitting in the checking account. I got 10 grand sitting in the savings account. And it feels great. It's like the first time in my life where I'm like, that stress of money doesn't bother me.
Yeah, especially if an emergency comes up, you don't have to freak out now.
Yeah, exactly. And man, I tell you, the blessings that come with it all are some of the, like, getting to that point where you have control over your life again, because it's all about making the choice. When you make the choices to do the right thing, you watch all this positive stuff that comes into your life. And sometimes it's overwhelming. You're like, whoa, dude, like this shouldn't, like, I sometimes still feel like, man, am I deserving of this? Yes, of course I'm deserving of this because I'm making the changes. And when you make the changes and you open the doors, or the doors are opening for you or whatever, and you're walking through them, it's because you're giving yourself the life that you're supposed to have. And instead of being in a life that is controlled by a substance or a high that you're chasing and losing yourself from that manner. And it does take some time to come back, but everybody can come back.
How much do you think you were spending at the peak of your use?
I was probably spending more at the bar than I was making, a couple of times.
100 a night?
Oh, at least. Oh, God. I'd in a couple hours hanging out at a dive bar, I would be drinking anywhere from 5 to 8 Jack and Cokes, and then I would drive home, and a Jack and Coke's $8 a pop, right? So you're drinking quite a few of those, and then some shots or whatever, and then you go in the bathroom and you snort a line, and you're like, okay, I'm doing okay now. I'm gonna go get another drink. I've heard this before, that friends of mine have seen me drink, and I know you're one of them. And most people don't even know if I'm intoxicated.
Yeah, I've known you for 11, 12 years, and never did I see you like noticeably out of line. No matter how much we drank, how much we snorted, you always seem pretty level. And that's impressive. I don't know if that's a talent or something to be proud of, but I'm impressed.
Yeah, it's a party talent. No, that comes from a long line of being on my mom's side, having both of her parents were alcoholics. And my mother, who is still around, I don't speak with her anymore because of other issues. I can't, because if you're going through recovery, last thing you want to do is speak to somebody who will bring you down. It's like one of those trigger points. You're like, oh man. But yeah, so growing up in a household with a mom that was a drunk, I think that is what, and the reason why my body, I don't know if it's genetics or whatever, I think it must be, because I mean, there's been plenty of people that are like, Casey's just fine. He's had like a ton of drinks, but he's walking in a straight line, talking, his words don't slur.
So you did grow up around a lot of drinking. Is there anything you could talk about that you witnessed growing up that may have caused any trauma or triggered you to want to use later in life?
My parents fought a lot when I was younger. And like coming from a divorced family, I watched my mom while we were living in an apartment with my two younger siblings constantly like being so drunk that like, cause she can pound them down too, but like seeing her so drunk that she was scaring my little siblings. I had to step up and be a parent at such a young age, and like having to constantly parent a parent. I think it just was like, I got so tired of it all. It's like, like if you can't beat them, might as well join them kind of thing. So I think it comes down to that. I'm not having the male role model support as much as I should have from my pops, So basically kind of had to figure it out on my own. That's one of the biggest things is you gotta be around a role model when you're growing up, because otherwise you'll turn into those little thugs and little punks that are out there.
Yeah.
So
and you're a dad as well, so you're trying to set the best example now.
Oh yeah. No, and even with the fact that me and my kid's mom aren't together, we have a really good relationship, and it took a really long time to get there. It took almost a decade for us to get back to where we can actually like be around each other. And like she's finally noticing the really big changes in my life. And she's like, wow, you're like a completely different person now. And I'm like, I am, but I'm still me. And like, and for most people, if you guys are experiencing something like this, like I have this, like people will think of you as your past forever. And just because other people can't let go of something that happened doesn't mean that you need to own it anymore. And that was one thing I struggled with. I'm like, man, I don't need to own this crap anymore. I'm a new person. I can shake it off. I can put all that drama and crap and past in a bag and throw it in the river and never want to see it again. Because it's the past is the past. Today is the present, and tomorrow is, we don't know if we get tomorrow.
Yeah.
So,
well said.
Tomorrow's a gift.
Exactly. Is there anything you look back at with your relationship with your son's mom that could have involved alcohol or drugs that hurt the relationship? Was that the cause of you guys having issues?
Oh yeah. Yeah, because I'm sure I was a little bit more forward about having relations in the bedroom and stuff like that. I'm pretty sure that I wasn't probably the most cordial about it, I guess I would say. It was more like, hey, we're going to do this now kind of thing.
Yeah, so when we're under the influence, we kind of lose our sense of romanticism.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So, I mean, I can understand. I definitely probably, and most, definitely treated her more like an object than a person. And that does hurt, because I've had conversations with her now, and I'm like, I am sorry that I put you through that. She came from a long line of some crazy crap in her life too. And I was supposed to be the one to protect her from all that. And then I became the non-protector, the aggressor, falling into a depression when some other stuff happened too. It was like the domino effect that just comes through your life, where you're like, you're completely out of control, and then you have nowhere to turn for help because no one wants to deal with you.
Yeah. Can I ask what caused some of that depression?
What caused the depression was like I lost my relationship with my dad, my siblings. They all thought I was a piece of shit, which they weren't wrong. I was. But I was doing a lot of the stuff and giving back to the family, but it wasn't in a way that was appreciated. And if I was in my dad's shoes, I would have done the same thing to me, right? Because it's like, I'm out selling drugs all the time. He's not an idiot. He knew it. And I'm coming home and I'm buying groceries for everybody, and I'm I got oodles of cash floating around. I've got the nicest car that anybody's ever had in the family. When I had that black BMW, that brand new one, what a great little car that was. But when I lost all of that, I didn't even know what depression was back then. And I just sunk so far down into my own sorrows and stuff like that, I forgot about everybody. And I didn't know how to ask for help because I'm a stubborn-headed dude. And I was so involved with my own stupid life about chasing money.
You didn't want to be vulnerable. No.
And then for the longest time, I want to say about 3 or 4 years ago, I speaking of the vulnerability part of it, I met a friend of mine that I hadn't seen that we did business together. His name is Johnny. Amazing guy. Still kind of a party animal, but we don't see each other as much anymore. But he would always say to me when we'd hang out, he's like, dude, Casey, you need to stop with those eyes. And I never knew what he meant. He's always like, man, you got these sad, glossed over eyes, dude. Like you just don't trust anybody. You don't trust nobody. And this dude never gave up on the fact that he was like, I'm going to break this guy like a horse. I'm going to pull him back. And God does send you people, right? God will send you people in a way that you're not ready for. And this dude, we partied together. We did cocaine together. We did drinking together, whatever. But he would always be like, bro, you need to trust me. You need to trust me. You need to bring yourself back. You are allowed to be loved again. You are allowed to love yourself. We all go through stuff like this. And, it finally took with me from a person where he broke me down and was like, dude. And then finally one night we were having a conversation. He's like, wow, dude, I see it. You're finally you. I got you. And ever since that night, it's like everything in my life since I opened myself back up to being like this and being more trusting and open and still changing things in my life that like, dude, the blessings that just keep coming my way, I have to stay humble about, because if I get overly cocky about it, then some of the stuff could be taken away. But the messengers that come are not always in a form that you think that they're going to.
That's a good way to put it.
So, you have to be open. It's like all these things that keep coming to the forefront for me, even after you and I had started talking again, and like you told me about this podcast, and it's like, man, I've been looking forward to doing this with you. And it's like all the things that I'd like to share.
So can you describe what you would consider your rock bottom moment?
I guess I've had a couple, and for a while I just stayed there. As you know, like when we talked about my son and his mom, right? And it took a long time for us to finally get a decent relationship back. We were living in Linwood, and I was doing drugs and sleeping on the couch and drinking and watching porn and doing all this stuff. And she was like, dude, if you don't shape up, I'm going to leave. And I just called out. It was like, nah, you ain't going to leave. You got a nice car to drive, just thinking that I didn't have to do anything to keep her around. Well, I'm at work and I come home. I'm not answering the phone, and I come home and the house is empty. And God bless her for taking everything. You know what I mean? Because she had to get out. She had to do what was right for our kid, because I wasn't in a spot where I was supposed to be a father for a son or a child, anything. And I stayed in that house for about 6 months to a year after that, and had a roommate. And I just stayed in this, I guess, the rock bottom spot, dude. Just the turmoil, just like every day felt the same. I didn't do anything to change myself.
Were you drinking alone?
I was drinking alone. I was doing cocaine alone. I'd hide away in my bedroom. As soon as I got home from work, I'd just go up there and just drink till the morning came.
Did I know you around this time?
You met me a little bit after this time.
Okay. So were you struggling when I met you? Because your demeanor, the way you portrayed yourself, is that you had everything together, but were you going through a lot and just putting on a persona?
You met me about a year after, I think about a year after, and I had to pull myself out of it. So, like I said, this journey of mine has gone on for over a decade, and I've had slip ups and stuff too during all of it. I mean, it's just normal during your journey. But I'm pretty sure that where I was at, yeah, I probably didn't have it all together. No, I was probably faking it to make it. I'm just reliving some of that. Some of the best times that I had was back then, but it wasn't a healthy good time.
Because it always involved alcohol and drugs usually.
Yeah, that was my only hobbies, drugs, alcohol.
When did you start recently cutting back and controlling it?
So I've been cutting back for the last, I want to say year or so, 2 years, because I've been in this apartment now. I just signed my 3rd-year lease. So I moved out of this apartment that I was living in after a bad breakup, and I moved in with my dad for a year. And that was the best thing for him. Moved in with my dad, wasn't, going out to the bars anymore. I really took that as I'm just going to go home and I'm going to hang out with my pops. We finally got a relationship back together, and he'd still give me a little hard time about drinking on the weekends. And now on the weekdays, because I used to drink on the weekdays too when I first moved in there. And now it's I don't drink during the week. I maybe drink on the weekends. Here and there, sometimes still I have trouble with the fact that I had a bad day. Not that I'm really trying not to use that as an excuse to have a drink or two or a shot at the bar when I do decide to go stop at one, even though I don't even have one that I call home anymore, which is great. Yeah. Home is my home.
Every time I moved into a new place or a new city, I would always pick and choose. This is going to be my go-to place. Right, this is where I'm going to drink right after work. This is where I'm going to go at noon when I want to day drink. I always had that place.
Yeah, exactly. I had a spot up here that was called when I first moved to Everett, and I'd be on my way home from work, and I'm just going to go have a beer and a shot. And I was good about it for quite some time, where I just go in and I'd have a Rainier bottle, JMO neat.
And then you start making friends at these places and it gets worse, right?
Yeah. Well, I mean, I didn't really make too many friends with some of the people that were there, because I was I'm not going to get involved in another bar scene. I have to be good about not being involved with these people. I don't want these people to know about my life. I don't want to be like, hey, Casey, how come you're not at the bar tonight? Because I have a life, and alcohol's not my life anymore. Exactly. So I got to know a lot of the bartenders, and that was fun. Bartenders were all sweet people. So if I'm going to go in there, I might as well just be able to hang out and have a beer and just decompress for myself. So it's it finally took me to be like, dude, why am I spending so much of my own personal time at these places, spending all of this money on alcohol? And yeah, I mean, it's all and even sometimes when I'm at the grocery store, I would have to I'd have to walk down the beer aisle and look at the beer and punish myself, knowing that I'm not buying that beer tonight, right? Casey, as much as you want to, we're going to fucking put temptation right in your face, and you're going to have to walk right by it. And you have to prove it to yourself that you're not going to grab your 6-pack of your favorite IPA, hazy IPA, whatever, and go home and get drunk and then wake up in the morning feeling like crap and go to work and
do it all over again.
And do it all over again. And that's why those days become like a freaking cycle. Everything feels the same because you don't get the good sleep. Your body's not rested. You can't heal properly if you're not sleeping good. And it's been fun to torment myself when I walk through the grocery store. And that says a lot about somebody's character, when you can have the temptation in front of you and not get involved in it. And that takes a lot of willpower and strength, but everybody has it.
How do you manage that temptation now when you walk by it or when you pass a bar? What do you think? Hey, that's not worth it. I don't want the hangover. Or
it's I can walk by a bar now and I can walk by the beer section and it's not even a second thought anymore. It doesn't control me. And that was the thing that I had to be better about was being in control of myself, right? Because it's really fun to be out of control, but it's really damaging to your relationships and yourself and your friendships and your job and all that when you're not in control.
How have you seen your relationships change since you cut back? You mentioned bad breakups and stuff like that. What were those like compared to your relationships now, whether it be friends or girlfriend?
I've got a lot of better friends now, like that are not bad influences, right? And we go out and actually do fun stuff, not just go and meet at a bar, right? And I got a couple of guys from my church that I go and hang out with, and we go and do some hikes here and there. I've got a guy that we go mountain biking with, which I never thought that I would get into doing mountain biking, but it's definitely one of the most fun activities that I get a chance to do. And with relationships, people will notice when they decide to notice that you're doing better. And like when you're more open to the conversations of what they're talking about, and instead of always like being quick to shoot off an opinion or try to help them, like just listening to people, and people are like, wow, you're listening to me and you're talking to me and you're not just giving me an opinion off the hip, like, oh yeah, I've been through this, blah, blah, you should do this, right? No, it's like, you got to listen to people. And so I guess like it's opened up me too, like to the fact that I've been more aware of what people are going through too. And I'm like, hey, I just reached my hand. Put it out there. I'm like, you guys, I'm always here. I'm always here to talk. I'm always here for something. And I think that that's been a big change. And people notice that like, I'm not an angry person no more. Cause you know how when you don't drink or whatever, or cocaine mood swings where you're like, oh, fuck, everybody sucks. And you're like, well, dude, all I wanted you to do was grab me a pair of socks from the store. You're like, oh, you're just asking for too much,
Yeah. It's really reactive when you're, especially on cocaine. I would be so agitated over nothing all the time.
Right? Oh, dude. Oh, yeah. The smallest things can ruin your day when you're a fucking cokehead. I would say that term is pretty, it's a pretty nasty term. I think a lot of people, especially, I mean, not a lot, people like you and I, when we were doing it, yeah, it became our lifestyle. I would say that, and definitely changes a lot of things in your persona and your attitude.
What was your impression of me? The first time you met me, I know I was using. What was your impression of me over time? Would you view me as just a guy who partied all the time? I know we're friends personally, but how was I when I was intoxicated? I want to hear somebody else's perspective.
In all reality, you were a party guy, but me being your friend and me being in the exact same spot as you, and I know that we both share a lot of that whole empath kind of thing, and I think one of the biggest reasons why you and I were attracted to each other as friends is because I think we both knew in the back of our minds that we were both asking for help.
That's very true. Very true.
And,
we're both in a lot of pain, and we just put our masks on and go to work and act like everything's cool.
Yeah, and we couldn't help each other back then.
No, too stubborn.
Right, dude, for real.
Too stubborn. Nobody could have helped me. Nobody could have changed me. And I would have never called myself a cokehead or anything. But now looking back at it, I was a full-blown cokehead.
Yeah. Right.
I had it everywhere. I always had it in my little side pocket of my jeans everywhere I went with a key ready to go. And it messed up all my driving keys. I mean, they got to the point where I had to clean those things off to use them. It was pretty bad.
It's an amazing situation for us to be able to talk about this and realize that the accountability that we have now from that journey is what has molded us into the great people that we are today. I love you, man. And I know that it's been a whirlwind of adventures. We've seen a lot of crazy crap happen to each other. And it's nice to see, dude, just like how I was talking about earlier, you're the happy Ryan.
Finally. Yeah, and this is the first time in my life I actually comfortable in my own skin.
Right? And your eyes look different. And that's the biggest thing. I mean, that's the same thing like I was telling you with that friend of mine that was like, dude, I'm pulling you out of this.
Yep.
Right?
He knew you were sad.
He did, like I said, those those messages come down in ways that we'll never understand as long as you quit fighting it, right? So just got to stay open to people when the good people, not all people, but the
Yeah,
good people.
good people will call you out, but they'll do it the right way. They want to help you as opposed to judge you and put you down.
Yeah.
But
No, and it's one of those, looking back at it and really realizing from what you said, because there's not, as we know, like the other person that we all partied with, who always says things completely ass backwards. But it's like to get the insight from somebody else, hearing that I seemed like I had it all together. I looked at your life too, like, man, you're living on your own. You got this sweet apartment. You got this cool job downtown. One of my fondest memories of you and I hanging out together, which was one of the funnest evenings, was when we went to that playoffs game together downtown.
that was awesome. I actually going through photos and saw a picture of that the other day, and yeah, that was good times.
Dude, the fact that we got to park at your office, and we walked over there and we smuggled in our Vatorade, and we were smoking cigarettes in the bathroom.
We were smoking cigarettes in the bathroom, and then I do recall that we left the game slightly early because we were both craving cocaine.
Yeah, I think we both ran out. I think that was the biggest problem.
Yeah.
And see, we didn't get to watch the end of something that was so fucking amazing.
Yep. That was I think it was a game-winning play or a game-winning interception or something that game. We had our priorities different, but it's still an awesome night at the time.
Yeah. But that's how much further we've come.
Exactly. You got to look at the progress.
Yeah. So it's like we have some great, funny stories, but at the same time, looking back at it, like if we weren't in those positions or mindsets, how much better life could have been.
Exactly. It all shaped us to who we are now.
Right. But if we didn't experience that journey, we wouldn't be able to talk to people about it's cool and not cool what you're going through, because a lot of us have been there. And now we get to be the ones to mentor to people and tell them, hey, look, I was in your spot.
Do you do that a lot today? Do you try to inspire other people that are probably going through something similar that we went through?
Honestly, as of lately, like the last several months, yeah, dude, so the other day, I live in Everett. Everett's not the most nicest area in the entire world. It's gotten better, but I was pulling my car out of the driveway, pulling my truck out, and I see this black kid that's sitting there at the end of my garage entrance as I'm pulling out. He's got a t-shirt on, he's got his underwear on, he's got snot running down his face, he looks like he's cold, he's wearing a kid-sized jacket. I don't know if the guy got raped or something like that from whatever drugs they were doing, but I took 10 minutes sitting there with my truck running, like sitting in my driveway like this, and I said, hey man, I know exactly where you're at, dude. I never got to that point where I was homeless. I was homeless at one point, yes. I lived on people's couches for a while, but like, I was like, dude, this is not the life that you want, dude. I mean, look at what I'm driving. I'm driving a brand new Toyota Tacoma. Well, new to me. And I have a great job and I have an apartment and I'm healthy and my skin looks good. And I said to him, dude, right down the street, just walk like 5 blocks down to that church down there on the left-hand side. They have a ministry there. They'll feed you. They'll help you find a spot. And he's like, really, man? I was like, dude, you don't need to be in this lifestyle. This is not living life, dude. And he's like, okay, all right. And I said, do you want some? And so I was like, do you want some money to go down the street if you need to like get some water or something? He's like, no, I don't need water. You gave me all the information I need. So I don't like giving those people money because I know that that's enabling them to go find more drugs. So I watched him walk down the street. I haven't seen him around since, so I hope that my message said something. And like I've said to a couple other people, I guess I've been doing it a lot more than just with homeless people, because at my workplace, they call me the shop father. And I got guys coming up to me and they're like, dude, I'm having a bad day, dude. I'm like, why? Why are you having a bad day? And they're like, man, I'm just tired of doing the same thing over and over again. I said, well, you know what? You're doing all these big jobs and stuff. It's going to make you a better tech in the future. You're 23. I remember when I was the low man on the totem pole and all I was doing was heavy line work and all that. It's like, you guys got to keep the mindset. You're learning as much as you possibly can. So I gave motivational speeches to guys all the time at work. And it just comes naturally. Like, and I don't expect anything in return from any of that. I get blessed in whatever way comes my way. So yeah, I have been doing that a lot lately, actually. Now that I think about it, I've been doing it a lot more than I actually realize. So
That's good.
It's been nice to be somewhat of a motivator for people.
Yeah, I'm learning in sobriety that the more I talk about the beauty of it and making progress and cleaning up your life, how varied it is, it actually helps me stay that way by talking about it.
So, like, for instance, too, I don't know if I've shared this with you, but like the girl that I've been seeing, she's been up and down with having alcohol problems, and she's gone to rehab before. She's had a couple what she calls grippy sock vacations where she ends up in the hospital from over drinking and stuff like that. And I was like, man, this girl's got nobody in her life. She's got, her mom passed away. And I'm like, man, God was always just like, dude, don't give up on her. Just don't give up on her. I know she's killing you right now, but just don't give up. Don't give up, because someone gave up on you, right? So pay it forward. And now she's doing good. She has a good job. She brings home money. She doesn't drink anymore. I mean, every once in a while, she wants to have a beer. I'm like, that's fine. But as long as you're in control of it, you get out of control, that's when you're stepping backwards. And I've had to teach her some things because she lost her mom at such a young age. I told her, I said, hey, you know how my house is always clean? And she's like, yeah. I'm like, the reason why my house is clean is because I want my house to be organized. So when I come home, I don't have to clean anything up. I get to come home and I get to relax. If I were to live in a place full of chaos, everything outside of my house is going to be chaos.
That's so true. You are where you live.
You are. And one of the things that I had taught her too, and I had to learn this from listening to a Army drill sergeant. He goes, you know what the biggest problem is with you people these days is that you guys don't start a task and finish a task the moment you wake up. And I was like, well, I wonder what he's talking about. And he's like, every morning I get up, I make my bed after I get out of it. So your bed's made. That means as soon as you wake up, you finish a task.
Yep. It's a military rule.
Right. And so I'm like, okay, so every morning I get out of bed, I make my bed perfect. So as soon as I come home, after I take a shower, I eat my dinner, I can go crawl into a nice bed that I accomplished putting together the first few minutes I stepped out of my bed.
Exactly. Starting your day the healthy way.
Yeah. And when you start your day that way, everything else that you got to go on with, dude, you just start, finish.
Things fall into place.
And another big thing is that a lot of us, when it comes to recovery, is when you say I'm trying is not a word that we get to use in recovery, because if you're trying, you're not doing. Trying is a failure's word. It's either you do it or you don't.
Exactly.
So
one day at a time.
Yeah, one day at a time. Don't plan a week ahead.
What other healthy hobbies do you have besides mountain biking? What other things do you do to kind of stay busy and combat the urges to do anything you used to do?
So as of recently, I know that you knew I was a motorcycle rider.
Yeah.
And you remember when my motorcycle got stolen a few years ago?
Yeah.
So I finally bought myself another motorcycle. It wasn't just a brand new motorcycle. I bought a bike that I got to build myself. And when I get to go out and ride my motorcycle and put my headphones in and listen to music and be one with the machine, that is my two-wheel therapy. And my two-wheel therapy for me clears out all anxiety. It clears out everything I'm thinking about. It takes all the stresses away, because it's a selfish hobby, but it's one thing that I know that keeps me balanced. And it's like, I don't have to go out and drink. I can go get on my motorcycle. I can go for a ride and enjoy and look at the scenery and find new roads and practice turning corners and leaning and stuff like that. And it's one of those things when you're just alone with a machine like that, you get to enjoy the world for what it is by yourself and have nothing but an engine rumbling between your legs and some good tunes in your ears while you're out coasting in the elements. And that, to me, that is the one thing that most people should experience.
Do you think doing that now and enjoying it while you're in recovery, do you think that kind of fills the void of the thrills you used to have when you were BMXing and your career ended?
Yeah, yeah, because I mean, honestly, being an adrenaline junkie myself, like riding dirt bikes and being a professional BMX rider, being able to throw myself into things like doing big air outs in a quarter pipe. I mean, that was the most exciting stuff that I got to do. And then going on one little trip with a company that I worked for when they took us down through Oregon and California, and another one up through Canada when I was younger. That was my life. That was the one thing: 2 wheels and handlebars. And so now when I get to do it on a motorcycle, yeah, that's definitely the fix for it, for sure. I just don't have to jump in the air anymore.
That's good. So you're kind of a thrill seeker then. So you enjoy riding the motorcycle now and mountain biking. Do you think your thrill seeking led to a lot of the drinking and drug use in the past, just to have excitement?
Dude, for sure. Oh yeah. No, the first time jumping a dirt bike or jumping a bicycle, there's no other adrenaline rush that compares to it, right? And then the first time you smoke weed, or if it hits you right, I mean, some people have a bad time the first time, or the first time you fucking do cocaine, you're like, whoa, this is way different. What is going on? And you feel your body in a way that's like you got constant adrenaline going on, but in a different way, because your dopamine is changing.
Yeah.
And you know, you got your serotonin levels that are changing, and like that's something that a bicycle can't do, but it can change your dopamine levels, but it can't change your serotonin levels. And that is, yeah, I mean, in comparison, yeah, I would say that I was definitely chasing that feeling again. Sure.
But riding gives you a good adrenaline rush, and there's no need for drugs or drinking. You get a natural rush.
Dude, riding a downhill mountain bike or trail mountain bike, whatever this thing is, I've gone out a few times. I'm not very good at it, but I'm out in the woods. I'm pedaling around. I'm getting exercise. I'm beating up my body. I'm exercising. And then I get to fly down these hills as fast as you are comfortable with. And you're like, oh man, dude. So it's like, I have to ride my happy ass all the way up to the top of this mountain. And then I get the enjoyment of coming down, and instead of getting all the way up there and then the come down being terrible.
Yeah, like a drug.
Yeah. So, I mean, riding a bicycle is a drug, but at least the going up and coming down is both fun.
That's awesome. That's a good way to put it.
So it's like, yeah, healthy outdoor activities have definitely saved and have definitely been something that have come into, yeah, where I crave to go ride my bicycle, or I crave to go ride my mountain bike, or I crave to go ride my motorcycle.
And that means you end up surrounding yourself with more like-minded people who want to do the same stuff.
Yeah. You got to surround yourself with positive people. Yeah. I mean, there's always going to be the negative Nancy everywhere you go, and no matter what sport you're doing, but always remember, you got to take care of yourself, control yourself, because you're the only one that makes this choice. No one can make a choice for you.
I was curious, you mentioned God a couple of times. How does spirituality play a role in your view on recovery?
I guess when I'm feeling like I'm lost and like I don't know who to reach out to, I'll reach for the book, and you can find all sorts of different things in the back of the Bible. Like if you have a certain situation or a word that you're looking for, you know, kind of hyper focus on that word of where you're at. And there are tons of scriptures that you can read, and some of them will stick out to you and be just for you, right? And so my journey with God, my relationship is my relationship. And, you know, there's things that he shows me all the time. Like when I'm feeling down, I'll like sometimes like on my Instagram, I'm feeling down or whatever. If I'm scrolling, which I've been doing a lot better about not doom scrolling anymore. But I have all these positive Christian dudes that I follow on there that are like, hey man, I'm going to pray for you. And you're like, okay, cool. I'm going to pray real quick. And then the message that he's talking about, you're like, man, I thanks God, I needed to hear that. And so regardless of being at the bottom, being at your rock bottom, you can always build some stairs to get yourself out of that pit. And so, yeah, I rely a lot on my relationship with God because he's always present with me. He's always constantly showing me, just like that again, I'll go back to that quote that I sent you a picture of, that was something that was like, whoa, I just got off the phone with Ryan and I'm like, oh, wow, dude, that's crazy because yeah, it's true. He will navigate you in a detour.
Yep.
Like, hey man, this ain't the right path for you. See ya. Let's go. And so, yeah, I mean, but you have to be open and receptive to that. Not, and I know there's a lot of people that are like, oh, this guy must be religious. No, I don't believe in religion. That's one topic that is one of the hardest things because every relationship would be considered a religion then. Like, every hobby would be considered a religion. I mean, for some people, football is a religion, like that can affect your whole entire life. If the Seahawks don't do very good this weekend, they're like, oh man, my whole world sucks because Seahawks lost.
I used to be like that.
It's all about finding those things as you realize them as we are recovering, right? But I stepped away from God a long time ago to figure out the world, right? And like that was from my own just being rebellious as a kid. Like I grew up in the church. I was a youth leader in the church. I was the guy that people would come to on Sundays, and I taught Sunday school and Bible verses, and I'd have to write all this stuff down. And like I was very involved in it. And it was, being a Christian, it does make your life harder. But at the same time, it also makes your life way more blessed. So, there is some guardedness to it for me still sometimes that I'm working through, but I don't also want to come off as somebody who's like one of those crazy Christian dudes that are like, if you don't follow Jesus, you're going to die in a pit of hell or pit of fire or whatever.
I don't like when it's forced on me either. But...
And that's the same with recovery, right? Recovery has to be a choice.
Exactly.
And I appreciate the fact that you're going to be here too, as my friend, to watch me go through it.
Yeah, I agree. I think in a big way, we hadn't talked much recently, but I think in a big way, the fact that we are like-minded has kind of reconnected us a lot too. So,
oh yeah,
as far as the recovery goes,
even at your darkest hour, Ryan, I never not loved you.
I know. I've never felt judged by you, even when I disappeared for months on end and hid in my bed with a bottle and just didn't talk to you or any friend or anybody. I knew that you weren't judging me.
Never, because that's not my spot in life. I think if more people in the world would stop judging, we'd have a lot better world, but to each their own, and I can't change the world, but what we can do is just motivate people to know that, hey man, life is going to throw you some crap and life is going to be tough sometimes. But you got to remember that God only puts you through what he knows you can handle.
Exactly. Do you think it's easier now that you're in recovery to deal with those obstacles that are thrown in your way, the speed bumps? You find it easier to cope with now that you're sober? You kind of like, oh, well, it's just something I have to get through.
Oh, yeah. No, I mean, nothing in my mind nowadays, the way that I even have said this to other people. Okay, my friend crashed their car. I said, did anybody die? They're like, no. I said, that's good. Your car's fixable. Are you okay? Yeah, I'm okay. Are you going to go get seen by the doctor? Go to the emergency room? Yeah, perfect. I'll meet you there, right? You're going to be fine. We'll get your car fixed. Or if somebody gets a flat tire, or like, oh my God, there's somebody at work that doesn't like me. Who gives a crap? Somebody at work doesn't like you.
That's my attitude towards everything now. It's like, why let something faze me? If I'm going to have a bad day, I'm choosing to have a bad day.
Right. Like the other day on Saturday, I had a little bit of a rough day, but the thing about it is like I got through it. I just had to be the person to tell everybody, hey, y'all are asking for too much. I'm in the middle of rewiring a wire harness on a car. Okay. I have to make sure I put this back together absolutely perfectly. And if all you guys keep coming over here and asking me questions, I'm not going to do this job correctly. So just leave me the fuck alone. And I said it in a way because no one gets it sometimes, where I was like, you guys just got to leave me alone. And finally, they leave me alone. The car gets done. But after that, I was fine. I was like, dude, I did some cool stuff on something that I've never done before. I made a customer super happy that's leaving Washington to go live in Idaho. And I rewired his car to make sure that he could get over there properly. And that was one of those things where it's like, you're going to have a lot going on all the time. And sometimes it's okay to blow up, but don't let it take your whole day away from you.
Exactly.
But yeah, no, easy. I mean, dude, everything that happens nowadays, unless somebody died or you're getting shot or you're getting robbed,
yeah,
it's all, what do they call it? First world problems.
Exactly. And you can get through them pretty easy, especially in recovery.
And one of the biggest things too, when you start, I mean, because it's like, I've tried to do this before and I want this one to stick even more. But even at the same time, being in the mindset that I am now, Satan is still going to attack me from every direction that he can to try to break me.
Yeah.
I mean, just like in any kind of portion of when you're trying to do something better for yourself, something in the universe, whether you're a believer, non-believer, doesn't matter. Something's always going to try to deter you from what you're doing when you're trying to better yourself. And so when you got the armor on and you know you're trucking to go do what you got to do, you get it done and don't let anything get in your way.
Would you say the relationships are now with your current girlfriend, your ex, and your son? How are your relationships improved?
The relationship's been really improving a lot with my kid's mom, which has been amazing. Like, we actually have been able to talk to each other, and I'm more open to listening to what she has to say. And it's been a breath of fresh air because I didn't have that for a long time. And it's because I wasn't paying attention. And now that I'm here and I'm paying attention and people see that you're paying attention is what makes the world a difference for the people around you, the people that do love you, or they, you hurt them. And so when you actually get those relationships back that are the ones that are most important to you, it's all because you're making the change to do better.
It's very rewarding.
It's huge. It's very huge. Like, I was trying to tell my kid's mom about this podcast and she's like, why are you getting weird? I was like, because I'm getting emotional, because I'm going to have to talk about stuff that you've never heard me talk about.
Is there anything else you'd like to talk about while it's on your mind?
I mean, I guess it's nice to be heard, and it's nice to be in good company. It's nice to be able to tell this to somebody who I care a lot about and see somebody where you're at today, dude. Like, I don't know if I told you that, but like the other day when we got off the phone, I was like, man, it's so amazing to hear how great somebody else is doing.
Thank you. Yeah, seeing transformation in people, I go to meetings pretty often and somebody comes in on day one and you just see them struggling. And then 3 months later, they're collecting a chip and all of a sudden you're just, holy crap, it's like a whole new person. It's nice to watch people transform and get the life that they're deserving of,
Yeah, well,
it makes me emotional. Jesus. It is nice to be in this position, man. Just looking back, man, I was the sad person. I think we all were in our own way. So.
Yeah. No, and dude, honestly, I'll say this too. Like, my relationship with my son probably isn't the greatest as it should be because I'm not able to get down there as much as I'd like to. I'm going to be getting him his own cell phone. And so him and I actually will be able to talk more on the phone. So he knows like what an actual man is like to be around, and have more of his father be like, look, dude, you are just like me. So here's the things that you're going to want to avoid. Here's the things I'm going to teach you. Here's the people I want you to stay away from. But he also, at the age that he's at, he has to make his own judgment calls. I just want to be there to give him the tools to know the difference between how to judge these situations, not the people.
Yeah, you can let him develop on his own and make his own choices, but you can still mentor him. If you could talk to your old self at your worst, what would you tell? What would you say to yourself?
I would tell myself to look in the mirror and take a good hard look, and not just look at myself and think about that person that everybody else sees and what you're doing and how you've hurt people on your warpath that you've been on, and how much you're going to have to clean up in the future. All of these relationships that you care so much about but don't care about at this moment.
If somebody was in a really bad position right now, listening to this show, what advice would you give them if they were considering quitting?
Well, it's going to be the best and hardest decision that you're going to make in your life. Because as much as we all want to stay in a certain lifestyle, which I like to call this a lifestyle, where you're drinking and doing drugs and partying like we were, the hardest thing to do is you're going to lose all your friends that you thought were friends. And it's going to be a hard, lonely journey for the first little while, but that's because you got to go out and make the friends that actually want to bring you up, build you up, and keep you there, and keep you sustaining yourself in a way that's going to be a positive thing for you. But it's a journey, and it's hard, and you got to work at it. Nothing that is amazing comes easily. And if it did, we all wouldn't be here. It's all about gotta give. So one of my biggest things is you got to give up and let God take control. Or give up and let the universe take control, however you want to look at it. But you got to still remain in control of your decisions, but you got to give up on the things that are putting you in that position. The amount of times I've been arrested.
How many times do you think drinking caused you to be in legal issues?
I don't think drinking ever caused me to have legal issues. The only thing that ever caused me to have legal issues was drugs.
Okay. And did those charges get cleared and all?
Some, yeah, not all of them. I got that cocaine possession charge that was when I was in my early 20s, 38 now. So I have, the felony charge on my record. And those felony charges will hold you back from success for years. Like, I had to work crap jobs that were like, we don't do background checks. Cool. I can work for you for no pay.
And have to work your way up really hard. But you made it all the way up. Not just in your career, but in life. It seems like you overcame everything and went up the stairs.
If I didn't pull myself out of it all and really give up and like I said, let God take control and give him the reins and stuff like that, dude, I'd be in a totally different place. And that whole thing recently is when I've kind of given up and a lot of things to God, but like I've been doing this journey now for the last several years, and man, it just every time, every month, everything tends to get better, right? Things just keep getting better and keep getting better. And it's been a decade, of me coming back to myself, and it's been hard certain years. And it's been now I look around and I'm like, man, I got nice clothes in my closet. I got a nice truck to drive. I got a motorcycle to ride. Like, I've got so many cool enjoyment things. And now I'm taking care of, like, financially. I've got a good job. I got good people that I work with. I'm being surrounded by people where they want to hear Casey's message. You get there with time, right? And like, you will see it come around you when people are like, man, this guy, he just has so much power about him in such a way that's so inviting and loving. And that is one of the biggest rewards I get, dude, when people are like, man, Casey, dude, you're awesome, bro. Like, I just love being around you. Your spirit is amazing. Your energy is good. That's the kind of thing that people forget about, right? Like, your energy has to be positive. And when your positive energy is putting out there, you get so much more positive reaction. When you have negative energy, you get more negative reaction. We are just like a battery, dude. So as long as you're putting out the positive energy, keep putting it out there, because it'll come back to you eventually. Don't expect it. Don't feel like you need it to come back to you. Just let it come back to you. You'll be a magnet for positivity when you learn how to just be positive all the time. I mean, even like you said before, you thought I had it all together. back in the day. And we both knew we were hurting and all that. And it's like, now look at us, bro. We are thriving and surviving.
And outspoken about it, which helps others. And that's the best part, is being able to talk about it and be proud of ourselves and not feel any regret.
I don't have anything to hide. My past is my past. I can't change that. But what I can change is everything that I do today and what I get to do tomorrow. Yesterday is history, today is the present, and tomorrow is a gift. So I don't know what tomorrow has in store for me, but I know that as long as I'm up and breathing and people are still getting positive affirmations from me or whatever I'm putting out there, that's a reward to me. I'm not here to just for myself anymore. I'm here for other people. These gifts that I've got aren't just for me.
Is the end goal where you're at now? I know the end goal is to keep growing and becoming better every day. Is the end goal to never ever touch alcohol or drugs again at some point?
Yes. Yeah, definitely. And it is hard to think about, but at the same time, what benefits do I get from doing it now? Nothing. Absolutely nothing. A headache. You look swollen because you've been drinking, because of all the inflammation that's in the alcohol. You got poor gut health. There's all sorts of different things that you feel better about. The next thing I also want to quit is these darn things, because I've been a non-cigarette smoker for 4 years now. And dude, that was harder to quit, was those darn cigarettes. But now I can't even be around a person that smokes. I'm like, man, you guys.
Sorry,
Yes.
I can't stand it. I need to cut down on my vaping as well, but it's something I picked up, and it's like with the addictive personality, I always have to have something in my hand.
Well, and dude, like they said, everybody's got to have some kind of vice, right?
Yeah.
And there are healthy vices and there are unhealthy vices. Puffing on these little things, at least you don't smell like an ashtray. We don't know what the long-term side effects are for sucking on one of these, but we'll find out later. But at least I know I can run up the stairs and I can breathe, right? And so don't beat yourself up over having a vice, man. You can't get rid of them all. You get if you try to quit everything all at once, you go right back to it.
That's very true. So you're doing it as far as your recovery goes, doing it in a different process than a lot of people, because a lot of people are forced to stop everything like right off the bat, and you're doing it gradually in your own way, which I think is different but still really inspiring.
I've had to overcome a lot of different things in my life where I've had to stop suddenly too. Like when I was doing the oil refinery stuff, there was no drinking. I mean, we would drink, but not during the week. At least I wouldn't. And I couldn't do drugs because there was constant freaking drug tests. Oh, hey, Casey, it's time to go for a drug test. You're like, all right, cool. I'm going to go pee in a cup. And it's nice to know that, like, even if like something were to happen nowadays, I don't have to worry about that. I don't ever want to have to worry about that. But like being able to quit doing something for long periods of time, I'd like to not ever come back to the same period. So that's like what I'm working towards. And like I said, I've cleaned up a lot of my friends and stuff like that, where I don't go out to the bars. I don't have that temptation. So as long as I'm keeping myself away from temptation and I'm gradually not doing things and I'm everything in moderation, and getting rid of that moderation is the key.
And the good thing is the path that you're on, you'll never have to worry about hitting any kind of rock bottom lower than the one you've already hit that you talked about earlier. Like everything is looking pretty darn good in this direction.
Yeah, if I were to go backwards now, I would lose every single thing that I've worked this hard to get to. And it's like,
it's nice to say you got a lot to lose.
It is. It really is. Some people are like, oh, I don't care. I'll just lose it all. I've lost a lot and I've gained a lot and lost a lot. Like there's been a couple restarts, but this is the best restart that I've had, where I've got a good company that I work for. I mean, there's so many things. The list just goes on. I'm like, man, and the blessings keep coming. Relationships keep getting better and things are coming together. Like I'm seeing more of my family now. And it's nice to know that when people see me now, they're like, wow, Casey's way different than he was, a couple of years ago. Not that I need to hear that. I don't need to hear that because I'm doing it for myself. I'm not doing it for anybody else.
Yeah, you don't need the validation. You just already know it's working.
It's starting to work and you start seeing it all coming back to you. That to me is like the biggest thing. Like that's
results.
Yeah, and it's like unasked results, right?
Yep.
Like I'm not expecting anybody to be like, this, that, remember this or that, or you want to go out and do this? No. Okay, cool. So
yep.
It's amazing, dude. And life is much more enjoyable when you're not inebriated.
Exactly. I agree.
It's harder, but it sure is a lot more fun.
Yep. Sobriety has been fun. Recovery's fun. What do you want your legacy to be as a person, as Casey?
I think on my tombstone, I want it to say, that dude was the most caring, unique person that I'd ever met, who always loved and never judged. Sometimes God will wreck your plans to save your life. Enjoy the detour.
Rock Bottom with Ryan. No bullshit, just recovery.